Hello everyone. Today's devotionals comes from Mark chapter 14 verses 43 to 52. And this is what it says. Just as he was speaking, Judas, one of the 12, appeared. With him was a crowd armed with swords and clubs, sent from the chief priests, the teachers of the law, and the elders. Now the betrayer had arranged a signal with them. "The one I kiss is the man. Arrest him and lead him away under guard." Going at once to Jesus, Judas said, "Rabbi," and kissed him. The men seized Jesus and arrested him. The one of those standing near drew his sword and struck the servant of the high priest, cutting off his ear. "Am I leading a rebellion," said Jesus, "that you have come out with swords and clubs to capture me? Every day I was with you, teaching in the temple courts, and you did not arrest me. But the scriptures must be fulfilled." Then everyone deserted him and fled. A young man wearing nothing but a linen garment was following Jesus when they seized him. He fled naked, leaving his garment behind. Relationships are so important for our survival, but they're also very fragile. Maintaining them can be a challenge, let alone strengthening a relationship. It takes a lot of effort, patience, and above all, trust. And nothing hinders a relationship like a betrayal. And next to betrayal, perhaps abandonment can have one of those detrimental effects on a relationship as well. Both of these were experienced by Jesus on the night of his arrest. Jesus still chose to die for the world, his disciples, and yes, even Judas. Unfortunately, Judas took his own life before he ever got the chance to experience Jesus' love, sacrificial love on the cross. It makes us wonder how Jesus embraced them at all times, knowing their weakness and their future reaction to fear. How did Jesus look at his disciples, at his own disciples, and with hope and love every day he was with them? That is certainly a lesson that I am most interested in learning. There are so many things we are powerless to guarantee. Even the most respectful and loving of relationships are not immune to betrayals. And it goes both ways. Sometimes our great indignation with betrayal, or any form of betrayal really, is that we believe we would never do that to the other person. So when we are betrayed, the indignation becomes great. Peter was very certain of himself. He was sure he would die for Jesus. He was sure he would never abandon Jesus. But we know all too well that when the moment came, Peter ended up denying Jesus 3 times. A betrayal. You see, it's not because Peter stopped loving Jesus. The Bible tells us that after he had done that, he went out and wept bitterly. He loved Jesus. It's not because he doubted Jesus. It's because the circumstances were too overwhelming. And frankly, he miscalculated, overestimated his own strength. I suppose the first thing we should learn from this story is that we're all capable of betrayal. Accepting that, accepting the fact that we're all capable of betrayal can make it better, can make us better at forgiving and embracing others. If there's one more thing I think that we can learn from this story, is that we can learn how to embrace people beyond betrayal. And my father is a missionary in Mexico. Over the years, he has taken many disciples under his wing. Local pastors he trains and helps them plant and grow churches in a diverse area that he works there. One day when I came to visit, I noticed that one of his students who worked very closely to my father, who I had known for many years, he wasn't around anymore. He was nowhere to be seen. So I asked around, where is he? What happened? And they told me some things happened. There was a sort of a betrayal that happened, and he left. He took some people and he left. And so I kind of went to my father and asked him, how did this happen? And he didn't want to comment on anything. He simply said the following thing. He said, I'm just glad, in fact, I'm happy that they were big enough, or they had grown enough to betray me. Now, he wasn't being sarcastic. He wasn't being sort of trying to say this with a double meaning or anything like that. He genuinely meant that. And I think it's because over the years, my father had to learn that, working with people over there, you could not always rely on people to be who you expected them to be. And yet you could not stop working with them. You could not stop loving them and caring for them and holding hands with them to accomplish things together. And I think this is something similar that Jesus understood, of course, in a deeper and more profound way. And I think when we embrace Christ's love for us, it gives us a capacity to love and embrace people beyond betrayal. In Christ, relationships produce fruits, great fruits, a lot of blessings. It would be a shame if we let something like betrayal get in the way of the amazing gifts that Jesus has intended for all those relationships that we have. I would like us to carry this prayer throughout the day. Lord, help me forgive and embrace those who have and will betray me, and share God's grace with everyone around me. I hope you carry this prayer, and I will see you tomorrow.